Good evening, everyone. Congratulations for surviving last Tuesday. Luckily, the weather wasn't like today's weather last week. But we made it through the primary. Those of you that supported me, I greatly appreciate your support. And now we move on to November. Now, the race for Montgomery County Commissioner is a very unique race because of the nature of it and the makeup of the candidates seeking the 3 spots for Montgomery County Commissioner. So the 2 Democrat incumbents they survived their primary challenge last week. They're moving on to the general. I survived my primary challenge. I'm moving on to the general. But unfortunately, I was not paired with the running mate I was hoping to be paired with. And I said back in March when I came to the ATRO meeting that if I was not paired with that person that I could trust and that shared my platform and my vision for this county, everything was going to tank. I said that to all of you. And unfortunately, that's where we are today. So the elephant in the room is, no, I'm not running as a team with Fred Connor. I've been very clear with that all year long. And the reality is, I have no reason to trust Fred Connor. And last week, there was supposed to be no endorsement by the Montgomery County Republican Committee for County Commissioner. But behind the scenes, it was very obvious that there was an endorsement for Fred Connor. The party bosses and the establishment insiders who were actively involved in the Connor campaign and actively involved with doing whatever they possibly could to unseat me. That was the reality of last week's race. So here we are in this situation where it's going to be a fight over the minority seat. And unfortunately, everyone on the ballot is penalized by that. But the problem's not Joe Gale. Joe Gale works his rear end off. Year after year after year before I was old enough to vote for the Montgomery County Republican Party. But when I ran 4 years ago for county commissioner, part of my platform was to rebuild the conservative movement in this county. The conservative movement that came to a screeching halt, that's broken, and is not being successful. I'm the next generation of conservatism in Montgomery County. Some people can't accept that. I'm the youngest commissioner in the history of the county. I have a very large following across this county because I work hard. And the Republican Party is going backwards. And I offered the county an opportunity to get 2 young guys as the nominees of the Republican Party to take it to the Democrats. And unfortunately, the goal of the chair of the Montgomery County Republican Committee, Liz Priate-Havey, that's not her goal. And if you think for 1 minute she's interested in getting your township commissioners reelected or picking up a seat like the Larry Jones race that was close a while back, or having Joe Rooney elected to the Abington School Board, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself. So we have to get down to the reality of this. The reality is the Republican Party establishment, the Democrat Party establishment will go to any measure to unseat me. Why? Because I delivered on campaign promises. Why? Because I beat the establishment 4 years ago. They didn't take it well. The party establishment didn't take it well, particularly Liz Priate-Havey, because she was the campaign chair of Scott Zelloff, the former board member of Planned Parenthood and a Lower Merion Township Commissioner that I beat in the 2015 primary. She holds a personal grudge and vendetta against me because I beat her guy in the race 4 years ago. So now she's party chair to finish the job of getting me out of office. So that's the message I'm going to have to take all across Montgomery County and explain to people that they were cheated and lied to in the primary process last week. There was supposed to be no endorsement for the wellness and the health of the Republican Party in Montgomery County, because last time, 4 years ago, it tore us all apart. But behind the scenes there was. And proof of it are the fake green ballots that were issued, and I'll provide everyone in the room a copy of this, by Fred Connor, paid for by Citizens for Fred Connor. Same dimensions, same font, same size font, same color, which is trademarked. They changed the logo and the paid for by and put Fred Connor, making the voters in this county think there was an endorsement for Montgomery County Commissioner, which there was not. Many of you, I saw you the night at the Bluebell Country Club when we had the county convention, and we sat there like a bunch of jackasses with the lights going off, the microphone couldn't work, and the whole thing was there's no endorsement for county commissioner. Not one candidate spoke. It was all dog and pony show joke. And then this comes out. And right on the bottom of the real green ballot, it says the MCRC logo and the green color are trademarks of the Montgomery County Republican Committee. Use of the protected marks without written authorization of the committee is strictly prohibited. Well, there it is. Same color, same dimensions, same font. And it's fake. Paid for by Citizens for Connor. So either Liz Priet-Havey is complicit in aiding this, which I believe that's obviously true. She aided this. Or there was fraud. So I'm going to let everybody know that this was disingenuous and that they were lied to on Election Day. And these were distributed in areas all across Montgomery County. Some of you may have distributed them.
No.
Some of you may have not.
No.
Some of you may not. But even the color is not allowed. The small green ballots, the little boxes that were different size, that's not allowed. It was disingenuous to the voters. My people handed this out, or something similar. Nothing like that. Nothing like a green ballot. We respected the process and the will of the committee, the will not to have an endorsement. We respected that. Fred Connor did not. So he likes to go around like he learned in the Marines, honor and integrity. It's a bunch of bullcrap, okay? He wants me out of office. He'll work with Democrats to get me out of office. He'll work with Liz Havey and Republican Party bosses to get out of office. Instead of worrying about a candidate for district attorney, they're worried about smearing me and distorting my record and doing anything they possibly can to unseat me. Instead of letting Ron Holt have the opportunity to run in a primary, they go and challenge his petitions so they can control the process of who runs for Register of Wills. So we have to look at ourselves and realize the reality of what's going on in Montgomery County Republican Party politics. It's not the good old days anymore. Some of us drink the Kool-Aid too much. That's the reality of this race. So I'm going to do everything I can to let the public be aware of this, know what's going on, and know that they will not stop at any length to unseat me. And I think that goes to show you I'm doing something right as county commissioner. If the Democrats want me out of office and the Republican Party establishment, not only located in Montgomery County but elsewhere in the state, want me out of office, then I must be doing something right. And that's what I campaigned on for 4 years, and I delivered on it. I've been exposing backroom deals, pay-to-play politics, kickbacks to the donors. Where was the Republican Party when the Democrat majority administration put in a new tax on your tax bill for the community college? I didn't hear peep from the Montgomery County Republican Party. I fought it like hell. Bruce Castor the year before voted for a double-digit tax increase. His last vote as county commissioner was a double-digit tax increase. I came in, I fought it. Where was the Republican Party? When they implemented the vehicle registration fee, then I said, wait a minute, we have the highest gas tax. We don't have a revenue problem, we have a cost problem. Where was the Republican Party to back me up in that fight? Instead, Mike Verb, the former disgraced leader of this party, who now works for Democrat Attorney General Josh Shapiro, came to our board meeting and fought me for voting against the vehicle registration fee increase. So that's the reality. And I think a lot of you know it. I think a lot of you are aware of it. And the reality is also the public's aware of it. And that's why I was the #1 vote getter, despite a barrage of distortions, attacks. Every time you opened your mailbox, there was another attack on Gale, because I'm doing something right. And why I was successful in the past, and God willing I'm successful in November, is one reason. I am not afraid of losing. Some of us, as committee people, are afraid of their own shadow. And if I listen to my marching orders as a committee person in Plymouth Township, I would still be out there 13 hours a day, working the polls, putting up the signs, collecting the signs, waiting for my big day to come. And it never comes. The reality is the deficit in this county in voter registration is growing increasingly more and more Democratic. And where's the Republican Party to combat that? Instead, they have a bizarre obsession with Gale. An obsession. That means I'm doing something right. I'm not worried about burning bridges because I'm building many, many, many bridges all across the 62 municipalities of this county. Something that no one else has even ever come close to. Because I have age on my side. 30 years old. 20 years from now, I'm 50 years old. Okay? I'm the future of the Montgomery County Republican Party. And I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that we have a county that's not like Philadelphia, a Republican with a backbone. I criticize Republicans, I criticize Democrats, because the public's fed up with both sides. And what you saw last night was just that. Last week was just that. So I'm going to let that message be known. So we can talk about a team for teams. Fred's going to get up here and say, I want to work with Joe, and I called Joe the day after the election. I told him up front. I told Bob Sobeck in the back on election day. If I'm paired with Fred, it's very unfortunate, because we're not going to run as a team. I know what's what, Fred Connor knows what's what, and I would assume the majority of the people in this room knows what's what, okay? I'm an incumbent. Typically, an incumbent doesn't even have a primary challenge. But instead, we had 5 candidates, and there was supposed to be no endorsement. Leave it up to the voters. That's supposed to be a healthy process to engage voters in the primary process. Instead, there was a shadow endorsement for Fred Connor. So that's the reality of this race. And the public approves of what I've done as commissioner, despite the pathetic smear campaign, because actions speak. When I had the courage to challenge a former board member of Planned Parenthood, that took guts, and I was successful. That guy's, he's bitter about it. He endorsed Fred Connor because they're establishment insiders. So he could get up here and say, I'm not an establishment insider. I was on the planning commission, then the zoning board, then chairman of my township supervisors. He's establishment insider. And establishment insiders are behind his campaign. So the reality of this race is Val Arkush, Ken Lawrence, they're getting reelected. It's who's going to be the next minority commissioner. And that's very unfortunate, because the chairwoman of this committee sabotaged it intentionally, and they'll go to any measure to unseat me, whether it's working with Democrats or Republicans alike, whatever they have to do to unseat me. And it's also sad that the entire down ballot is penalized by that. Had I won with Sean last week, we were going to take it right to them. That's not the reality now. And you have to realize, what have they done for you? You can't show up at the spring dinner every year and announce who's in the audience. They screw people like Ron Holt. They don't provide the necessary funding to have competitive local races here. Instead, they spend all their financial resources smearing me and distorting my record. It's very sad. And that's the reality of Montgomery County politics, and that's why we're at this point. Used to be a Republican stronghold, a dominant Republican county, one of the leading Republican counties in the nation. And year after year after year after year, it started to decline. It's not my fault. If anything, I'm part of a resurgence for conservatism in Montgomery County. And the people recognize that. I'm different. Okay? How many people get up at a committee meeting like this and talk like this? But I'm frank. I don't lie. I don't cheat. I don't put out garbage like this to deceive the voters of Montgomery County. I do the best I possibly can to well represent the constituents in Montgomery County, to make sure that there's a conservative voice on that board, to provide checks and balances. I don't deceive voters. I beat this green ballot in the primary 2015. In the general election of 2015, the majority of the green ballots I was not on. I beat it again, and I beat the fake green ballot last week. So it's very disingenuous to the voters of the county, and the chairperson of this committee for the county party should be ashamed of herself for allowing this to happen. You need the authorization from the county chairperson to do something like that.